afternoon, ma. My name is Ismail Umama Omowi. I'm a student of Library and Information Science, a trainee of content creation and YouTube making. Thank you for agreeing to participate in this interview. The purpose of this interview is to gain professional insights in your skill. With your permission, my partner Elizabeth will question you further.
My name is Akiyemi with Elizabeth. So I'll be the one to go interview. Thank you for agreeing to our interview. Can you briefly introduce yourself and describe your professional profile?
My name is Dr. Saad Bashir Abdulkarim. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Microbiology, and I'm also a GSC 301. 301. So I'm a trainer. So basically, we do beverages from cereals and some other cereal products. Thank you for coming.
Can you briefly introduce the skill that you teach and the real life application?
The school, like I said, is beverages from cereal, so we make different cereal drinks. We make soy drink, tiger nuts. We also have the zobo, fruity zobo. And for the other cereal products, we have different ones. We use different grains like maize, um, guinea corn. We try to convert them into powder for our end users.
So why do you believe that this skill is very important for an individual to see yourself?
We're at a time where it's not just about the white collar job. So, and federal government has been encouraging that students should have an entrepreneurial training. And so, being what it is, what we do is something that is very lucrative. For students, you have people that do parties frequently, so can always help them to make drinks for the party, birthday parties when they need to customize it. And for the other cereal products, we all take, we have children, we have babies, even as adults. Most people find it hard to make most of these things because of time. So we try to make things that they can always speak and use at home. So for breakfast, if you have the other cereal products, you can make your own just like custard, and at least you be sure that what you are taking are natural, not just like the other normal custard and milk.
So what are the basic requirements that is like needed to learn these skills?
The requirement is just your brain. At least you have your brain that you can use, and then for other things, your brains, your spice. So those are those things that you make use of. And they're readily available. So there are things that you can go to market and get.
So what originally drew you to teaching these skills to students?
It's something I've been doing. I've been doing it even before I became employed as a lecturer in the University of Illinois. So I do it for my children, I do it for my friends. Then I was doing little for sale. And then by the time I heard about GMS, I have something that I can also do and students can learn from it. So that was what prompted me.
How long does it take for someone to become proficient in this skill?
Becoming proficient actually for this is something you can actually learn within a week in real sense, but then it's something that you also learn as you do. You get to do it better as the more you produce, the better you get at it, because it has some there's kind of mistakes that even if your trainer tell you that you should do it this way, you can actually make some mistakes that you will learn from the new mistake to become perfect at it. So, and by that, I think by the time you do it repeatedly within a month, 2 months, you can become an expert.
So what are the fundamental steps like the ABC to start learning this skill?
Fundamental step in what way?
like the fundamental step to like mastering the skill.
I don't think I get that question. What's
The
the
steps, like the ABC step for mastering the skills, like the simple steps that a complete beginner can know to
okay?
master the skill.
Basically, for beginners, I think it's not something that is so hard. And if you have your brains, then depending on, like I said, you don't have just one product. So which of them do I start talking about? But generally, it's just about your brains that you want to use. Your cereals. You have different cereal products. You have the maize, you have the tiger nut, soybean, milk. So those are the things that you should have. And then for the production, it's not just one step. Depending on what you want to do. Tiger nut has its own step. Soybean, different step. The other product, another one. Soy milk, another one. So depend on which one do you want to talk about now. But basically, they have the steps are different. But one thing that is common is the fermentation process. The kind of fermentation that you have to take in all. Or you have to carry out some kind of fermentation. As a microbiologist, I believe that so fermented foods have their own probiotics that helps. So
So are these materials, these like raw materials that you have listed, are they like expensive
no,
for
the
an average
materials are
student?
not the materials are not expensive. Even for a student that just want to start, let's assume that the student just want to take one of these things. With 5,000 naira, the student can actually start something to make good profits.
Can this skill be learned fully online or it can also be learned in physical class?
Learning online, sometimes those that put these things online, they will always withdraw some steps. So sometimes it's better that you just come and see physically.
So what is the structure of your training program like? Like the duration, milestones, and the modules?
Oh, it's what I think I said something before that it's something you can learn within a week, and then you get to master it the more you produce. So there's the short time production process where you get to learn within a week. You can become an expert within 2 months, and then you can become a professional, like more professional within a year. So depending on
So what are the common challenges that the beginner can face when learning this skill?
the common challenge, especially for the beverages part, sometimes I told you that I said this fermentation process. If you are not careful, fermentation can occur in a negative way, and so the product becomes quickly spoiled. So for a beginner must know at what point are we fermenting and at what point do we need more to ferment. So that if you ferment at the wrong time, for instance, like the tiger nut, when you soak it in undergoing fermentation, but the moment you grind it, you must not allow it to ferment because it's going to spoil at that time. That's why most times we encourage that you should have a source of ice. You should have something that you can use to cool it so that it will not spoil. Then another challenge is if you don't have your own blender, a strong one, going to grind from outside, especially people that use their grinder for different things, they can actually grind something inside it, and by the time you start processing, you see that a lot of money would have wasted. So it is a major challenge. I faced it myself. And that's why I said there are certain things that you get to know. The more you do it, the more you know that this can actually bring an error. And that's an error.
So how do you help students like your trainees? How do you help them to overcome these challenges?
I tell them several them. I usually tell them too that each time they want to go into production of these things, they should start a little from small. Initially, you want to collect work from someone that said you should produce like 100, then you should try making it yourself first for maybe two, three, so that you don't run into loss. So I encourage them to do that. Then I also tell them be sure that you have eyes before you start. That's for the beverages part. For the powder syrup product, it's not really because it's powdered anyway. It's not something that can get spoiled easily. Can package for a long time. So the powder syrup product, I think that one is one. The one that has the major challenge is the beverage part.
So what are the practical exercise or projects that you use to reinforce learning?
I ensure that my students do these things themselves. I give them after the training, I put them into groups so that each of them are going to participate in their group. So they have to produce, let me see what you are producing, which we now use for grading. So the students will have to do it themselves. Most of those things I just give instructions. After teaching them, I give instruction and allow them to do it. Everybody must put their hands on something.
So how can students build a strong portfolio like the proof of competence in these skills?
If by what they do, I will have to see it, I see it, I assess it, then they also sell it, and we try to get feedback. When you are selling, try to get feedback from your customers so that you know that what you have done, did you actually do it well. When they get a good feedback, they say, yes, they are doing well.
In your experience now, what separates an average learner to an exceptional learner?
An average learner is going to make some mistakes, of course, and someone that has really been into it knows what the source of error is. You know what can cause error and where mistakes can come from. And for someone that is just starting, there are so many things that a beginner is doing. There are so many mistakes. In fact, there are some mistakes that, except you have done it once, twice, you will know, even if you are doing it for the 10th time, you may still make some mistakes that is actually from that mistake that you are going to learn. That your trainer will not even tell you until you do it yourself, then you know that, oh, this can actually really, this can cause a mistake. So it's something that you have to keep learning as you go.
So at what stage can a student start aiming for this skill?
The student can start, if you start the training this week, the student can start earning by next week. I hope you get that. So it's something that if you learn today, you can start learning from next week, and it's something that you can even be innovative about. You can be innovative about it. And I last week I think, oh, do I have the product here? I brought one of the product. I visited a place last week or thereabout. One of our students came, and by the time I saw what she had on ground, I was really impressed. So you can start making money immediately, and by the time you expand, you're going to make a lot of money. There was this seminar that we had in our department sometimes ago, and the students presented on probiotics, and at the end of the day, she brought out one powdered ogi. And by the time she gave us, I looked at it and I smiled. I said, my student can actually do this too. But she got it from these big brands. She got it from like those checkers, those that do checkers poster. So they now did a powdered ogi. And by seeing it, I said, there's nothing special about this. My student can actually do it too. And you can even do it better. So it's something that you just need your determination that this is what I want to do. You start from small, you can start making money immediately. And before you know it, you're going to make a lot of money.
So what are the potential income means for students at the beginner level, the intermediate and the advanced level?
I think I will have even said I've said the short time then you can start and make money immediately. And at the long time you can make a you can generate a company from it if you have the right branding. You know, everything in this country is about branding, and I think everything everywhere is about branding. I just talked about checkers now, and then you now ask yourself, what is that thing they are doing differently? Because they have the name. So for a student that started small, if the person is able to utilize social media well, the student can start becoming big gradually, and before you know it, the student will be doing so well. So it's something that there's a good prospect, but everything still depends on how you position yourself and your branding.
So how can a dedicated student realistically expect to earn money within a month?
Realistically, I said within a how much they can make
Like
or
maybe
how
the range of like 20,000 or something within a month.
that the student can make up to 20,000 within a month. Of course, and then especially for the beverage part, we are in a student environment. If the student has something, just get little eyes, get your guidance, so you can start making something, you start to your friends in the hostel, and before you know it, others will go in another hostel, and before you know it, the student can start earning something that can be self-sufficient as far as it's in school. So
So what are the startup costs involved in monetizing this skill?
the startup cost, we have different projects. So depending on which one, what you want to
Can
get.
you give us an example of
Example, the
the
easy
tiger notes?
for the tiger nut, for instance, now, with 5,000 naira. Tiger nut, just a rubber of tiger nut is like 1,000 naira now. Then we have most of this our adjuncts and additives now cost like another 1,000 naira. Then we talk about coconut and all those ones. So then with the eyes, by the time you have 4,000 naira, you can actually start something. And you're going to then let's talk about the packaging. Manage your packaging where you are going to put them.
So can you break down the cost versus the revenue for a beginner setting up their first project, please?
For the cost, like I said, okay, let's say a beginner that started with 4,000 naira, because you're a beginner, of course, you don't expect to sell at high price like others. So you can start with 4,000 naira and then make a profit of like maybe 2,500, 3,000. And the more you grow, the more people know you, then the more you strategize, the more you learn how to package, and the more you can now sell at higher price.
So how profitable do you think this skill is in Nigeria entirely, the global market?
It is profitable because it's something you can make double. You can make double of your investment, and it's also something that you can lose everything. I hope you get that. So for a beginner, it's better to just start small. When you start small, so that you know where you need to adjust, especially when you do not have source of electricity or you don't have a fridge. Now, basically, I'm talking about the beverage part because as students, I don't expect that you'll be able to do the powdered ones for now that you are still in school. By the time you are outside, maybe during the holidays, you have enough time to do all those ones home, and for that, you can make a lot of money, you can make double of your investment.
So what are the top industries or sectors where the skills is a light demand?
That's we are food industry, food industry. Then in high demand for beverage, that's is about those that do parties. People want to do parties. You can help them customize. You can customize it for people for their wedding, even for the other same products. You can always customize for them for their wedding. When it is to the Nigeria law, we like one way and all this, you can customize for them when they share to people at parties. And then you can sell to people that have children, infants.
So are there opportunities for students to work remotely, remotely
Yes,
or
I've said
internationally?
that you can work remotely, you can work internationally. Those that make checkers, they take them outside the country. Abi? So as a student too, if you have the space, you have the time, you can also do the same. can start small and you can actually export the powder soy product. Let's look at this the other one. What about the soy milk? You have the branded soy milk in bottles. So what is inside it is what you can also do yourself too. Everything is about how well you can package. So both locally and commercially, if you package well, the sky is the limit.
Can you emphasize more on how students can market themselves effectively in this case?
Then is by your branding, by the use of social media. You know, social media is now a place that everyone should try to leverage so that you can get the best of it. So through social media, you can make yourself known and do this, I have that, I can do this.
Can you like give us list of platforms that can help achieve this?
Instagram, Instagram, Facebook. Instagram is, I don't know, Instagram is like, what do I call it now? If you are not on Instagram, then you are missing. You should not just be on Instagram to watch people dance, what people do. You should be there to market your products too. You hear people saying that those on Instagram now make money more than those that are even in the market. Because now we are in an era of social media. A lot of people are there. I'm sitting here, I need something, I cannot go to market. But if I've seen it that someone has this and I need it, then I can easily get it from them. So your Facebook and Instagram should be a space where you can market yourself.
So, what mistake do you think students make often when trying to monetizing this skill?
Ah, mm, I don't have, I've not gotten a feedback in that. I've not gotten any feedback as far as I'm concerned.
So, what advice can you give to a student that wants to scale from the normal small jobs to major projects?
I think I said it in one of the sessions that you should just, whatever you are doing, you start a little, try to identify where errors can come from before you start making it large. So that you will not make, it's better to see the error when you have done little than to make an error when you make a large one that is now going to be a loss. So strength, start from little, see what you can do, see where you can improve, so that after 2, 3 months, you have done then and know that yes, I've done it several.
So, what advanced aspects of this skill can students aspire to learn?
Advanced aspects, let me say for the powder product, advancement is about, one of the issues we have is with the drying. You don't want to dry using the sun. So on the advancement level, you can, how do you get your oven, a big oven that can be used to dry your powder soil products. When you get to that level, you know that yes, I've advanced.
So, you said earlier that it can take a week to learn the skill. So, how long can it take to like become an expert in it?
I think I've said this before. It's just by repeated trial. By repeated, you can learn everything about it in a week, but by repeated trial, you can become an expert.
So, what are the additional courses or related skills that can complement this one?
Related, I will not want to give an answer to what I don't know because basically yeah, I think we did so many things as far as the beverage part is concerned, and we did a lot as far as, okay, except, well, yeah, so we have a lot of series, unlimited, unlimited, that you can actually learn how to make them into powder. For instance, I visited somewhere I said earlier on, and when I got there, I was wow at what I saw. And this person told me that there's nothing she cannot convert into powder. That they make a lot of from what do we call it, potatoes, we have yam flour, for you know. So this person said that what she's always trying to ensure is that anything that you think is going to spoil, you're going to convert it into powder before it spoils. So for students, we can use our brain. There are a lot of things we can
So, how can students continuously improve and stay updated in this field?
do. If you know what you are doing, if you have learned well, if you are doing it repeatedly, then search online too. You can always get new ideas. But the most important thing is just like those that are into tailoring, you've learned how to sew and your boss has trained you, then you have to start with training yourself as well. So basically, it's just like that.
Can you explain more on what a student can do immediately after completing the training to start earning?
They can make their beverage immediately after. They can make and start selling to their friends in the hostel, sell to their family at home.
So, what functional roles do the ingredients that you mentioned earlier play in terms of nutrition,
Preservative,
taste, and texture?
preservative, probiotics, and we talk about preservative and probiotics. Like ginger now, ginger is a preservative, is a probiotic, is a prebiotic, is a postbiotic. Because you are not going to use any kind of chemical additives. So those things, and health wise, you know that yes, what you are taking are things that will still help you to improve your own health.
So, how do cereal-based beverages differ nutritionally and functionally from conventional beverages?
From conventional ones, because they are natural, everything you use in production are natural. You ensure that no single chemical additives were added. So that's what makes it stand out from other ones.
Can you please describe the standard production process for powdered cereal beverages?
Oh, which of them do I want to pick?
You can pick any.
Okay, let's pick one. Let's assume we want to make a powdered product from maize. So you get your maize fundamentally, you wash it properly to remove stones, and then you are going to soak it for the fermentation process. And after soaking, when it has fermented, then you wash again and then you grind it into liquid. And after that, before grinding, you are talking about additives, right? So you are going to put all those adjuncts. We have different ones like ginger, little garlic. We have our cloves. We have different types of cloves. So all those ones, you put them in the appropriate ratio and you grind them together. And then you are going to sieve. After sieving it, you are going to allow it to ferment a little so that you have your live probiotics present there. And after then, I'm going to drain. You drain it with your muslin cloth to ensure that there is no water there. Then you are going to dry it properly to ensure that there is zero moisture in it. Then you grind again into powder and then you can start packaging.
So, what critical control points are essential to ensure that the product safety and quality is
I
intact?
think I said it as I was saying it, and that's ensuring that there is no water, zero moisture content. Otherwise, if there's little moisture, if you don't allow it to dry very well and you pack it, it's going to grow moths. There will be moths in it, so you have to ensure that there's no water in it.
So, how do processing methods influence shelf life and product stability?
The presence of water, for instance, now is going to spoil it. Within a week, you see moths growing in it. For this, for instance, you want to make bean powder and you allow water to be present, you do not dehydrate it properly, it's going to become slimy. For your beverages, you will see them getting spoiled right away, just as you are producing it, you see it becoming black. It can become your beverage that's supposed to be in liquid form. It can become as thick as alcohol. It will look like it will become alcohol. So you have to be careful.
So how are issues such as sugar content and addictive addressed during the formulation?
The sugar content, we said is natural. We don't use any kind of sugar, so we use natural sweeteners. We have natural sweeteners like dates. We use for some of the beverages. We use pineapple. We use coconut. So no kind of natural sugar. So not any kind of refined sugar, just natural sugar.
So which consumers demographics are these products best suited for?
This depends on who we are talking about. What product are we talking about? Every one of all these group, they all take part at home, including children, most especially infants, nursing mothers, working class. For beverages, everyone as well, working class, of people in their offices, children, adults, so everyone of all age group.
So how do you ensure that the complex technical concepts are effectively understood by the trainers?
You have to keep emphasizing to them that when you are doing this, try to avoid this. When you are doing that, try to so that you have to tell them any kind of error that I have experienced. So I'll have to tell them that I've experienced this, I've experienced that. So when you are trying to make your products, try to do this. You tell them any source of error that you emphasize it to them in class.
So in your opinion, what is the future outlook for cereal-based and powder beverage products?
The future
The future look of it.
the future is bright as far as we continue to grow serious, then there will always be need to use them, and there will always be something you can make from them. So it's endless, and we are in a country where we have a lot of things that waste. So before allowing them to waste, as an entrepreneur, you look at it, this thing, what can I make of it so that it's not going to waste in future. So by the time you have excess, there are times when we have excess drinks, and these drinks are going to spoil if you don't use it now. So as an entrepreneur, as a student, you make use of the opportunity.
So
Those that make tomato paste, for instance, they know that in future there's going to be a time where tomato will not be abundant. So they are making use of them at that time where it's abundant, so that people can have it in future. So the future is bright for cereal products.
so what final advice would you give undergraduate students about learning and advertising this?
They should, whatever you are doing, whatever kind of innovation you want to put, tell them that try it first, see it, so that you be sure that this innovation you are bringing is good before you give it to people to consume. So always tell them try from small, do little, and can then you should always try to make use of social media. I cannot take away that. Try to leverage social media so that people will know of what's happening.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time and valuable insights. We are very appreciative and we are grateful for your time. And
Thank
we
you for having me.
and we hope that the audience can learn few more things from what we have asked her today. And if you want to gain more insight on this, you can click on the subscribe button and on your notification for getting more videos.
Once
Thank you.
again, thank you so much, ma.